Hi everyone! Have you ever asked yourself a simple question? Why can I understand English but cannot confidently communicate with other English learners? Well, in today's video, I'm going to give you 3 reasons why this usually happens and also share some tips on how we can effectively solve this issue. Let's get started. One of the main reasons why English learners encounter this problem on a daily basis is that they're unable to activate their receptive vocabularies. Receptive vocabulary refer to words that you have previously learned but cannot effectively access or apply them during speeches or conversations. The key here is to unlock them and use these words to your own advantage. For instance, I may write a lot of words in my notebooks, thousands of them, but that doesn't mean I can fully understand or comprehend the context of when to use these words. We may know more words than we could have ever imagined, but that's the point. We don't know how to apply them effectively and sometimes only resort to words that are easy to use or everyday life. The key when learning any languages is to elevate our level, not to degrade our level. So there are a couple of steps you can try and incorporate them to your daily routine. The first way is a game called Rapid Word Association Game. How this works is that you can choose a random topic and list out all of the words that you know but have never used them in speeches or rarely use them when speaking or even writing. Let's say I choose the topic of traveling, so I list out some words like tourist attraction, journey, holiday makers, or visitors. The key here is to be able to list words that are high level, maybe you have previously learned but completely forget about it because you haven't done enough revision. After that, you can choose a couple of words and make sentences out of these words. Not only are you doing deep revision, but you're also able to understand the context of when to use these words. So make sure you try this game with your friends or when you're just bored. The second way is summarization. This is a technique I always use whenever I finished reading a passage, an essay, or an article, and it's an extremely beneficial activity to keep. For instance, you have just finished reading a passage or an article online. Maybe you're doing some research. So what do? We don't just read and put away. After that, after reading the passage, make sure you summarize the passage inside your head, or you can also speak aloud using your own words. This tests your paraphrasing skill and how much you understand the passage that you have just read. In this way, you might unlock words that you have never known before. For instance, you want to paraphrase the sentence because you don't want to use the exact wording in the passage. So your way is that you can rack your brains or just search up some words that have the same meaning with the other words. So make sure you try this technique in your learning. It can really help you to fully understand a text and also test your comprehension skill and vocabulary usage as well. Summarization really works. And lastly is what I call the self-explaining technique. For instance, I have this tool, let's say this one. I have no idea what this is called in English. It's used to put my hair up so my hair will be tidy, or when I'm hot, I can use this object. So what is it called? After some time, I remembered, oh, it's a hair clip. Or we can call them a claw too, depending on what you're using or what hair clip you have. In this way, when you are explaining the word that you don't quite remember to yourself, you can activate your brain and practice your explanation skill. So make sure you try this when you have no idea what something is called. Instead of looking up the dictionary straight away, you can try to explaining the word to yourself if you don't remember the exact word. And lastly, I believe it's equally important to keep a vocabulary activation document. If there are some words that you think is very useful to use in a specific context, make sure you keep a file or a document of these words, because whenever you want to review, you already have the information at hand. For example, I always use the word benefits, beneficial. It's very beneficial, it's crucial. So I want to make a file of all of the other words that have the same meaning as beneficial, including vital, essential, necessary, indispensable, and all of the other words as well. In this way, I can, switch up and expand my vocabulary usage. So yeah, that is the first reason. Make sure you can unlock your receptive vocabularies. The second reason is a lack of habit. We don't spend enough time practice speaking. We may learn thousands of vocabularies or a lot of English grammar. Without practice, it's impossible to improve our speaking skill. We all know that speaking is a muscle memory game. For instance, our mouth needs to keep moving. Our brain needs to generate ideas and think constantly. So with practice, you can definitely achieve this. For some of my friends, they feel really uncomfortable when speaking, since the only thing that is blocking you from speaking and practicing them is perfectionism, right? Because when you are always aiming for perfect speech, error-free content, and extremely good pronunciation, this is what stops you from practicing and keep on improving. Just remember that you may make mistakes at first, but that doesn't mean you should not keep on trying and improve your pronunciation or your critical thinking skill. So for me, I remember that when I used to practice speaking, I was really shy. But after some encouragement from my mom, I started to practice some more and focus on my pronunciation and also how I think of ideas whenever speaking. So now, I'm going to show you some ways that I've used and applied to create this habit of speaking daily, and also to, feel comfortable when speaking too. That's the most important part, since if we don't feel comfortable, it's very unlikely that we can be successful with our speaking practice journey. So, to feel comfortable, the first way is to practice tongue twisters, and that's what I always do. Not only is this an entertaining activity, but we can also practice our pronunciation and our lip movement so that our mouth will feel more comfortable when pronouncing words. Some short sentences like she sells seashells by the seashore, or red lorry, yellow lorry, those are all amazing tongue twisters you can practice so that you can feel a bit more comfortable when practicing. Alright, the next thing is to speak spontaneously without preparation. We all know that in real life conversation, nobody is going to give us 10 minutes or 15 minutes to prepare for a speech, and we need to practice our spontaneous thinking. There are a lot of ways that we can practice spontaneous thinking. For example, you can search random topics and try to practice speaking about anything related to that topic. It can be 60 seconds, 2 minutes, depending on your level of English. Another way is that you can just try to describe your activities. For instance, if you're studying, you can just mouth out, I am studying English. Or when you're walking, you can just say, I am walking. So these simple sentences are the foundation to spontaneous thinking and your becoming more comfortable when speaking with others as well. Another way is you can learn from native speakers, and this is a must whenever we learn any types of languages. For instance, when I learn Korean, I try to absorb the information better by listening to Korean speakers, how they pronounce words, or just absorb the information by watching Korean movies. The same goes to English. You can try to watch English channels. There are a lot of English channels out there that have amazing teachers, like Rachel's English, English with Lucy, or Learn English with Teacher Tiffany. Those are all channels that I used to watch and currently watching to improve my pronunciation and my speaking as well. The key here is that you're not just watching, you're also mimicking or repeating after them. You can pause, watch closely their mouth, and try to mimic what they have just said. Or also, you can practice, copying some sentences while also matching their physical articulation. And lastly, record and compare. Record a video of you talking about any topic and compare your pronunciation to theirs or your lip movement to theirs to see if there are any differences or if there are anything that you need improvement. Lastly, I would like to talk about intonation. Speed is important, but we also need intonation when speaking. Intonation basically means the ups and downs in the sentences. For instance, if I ask a person a question, "Are you cooking?" I would have a little higher intonation at the end, or "I am studying." So it will be lower at the end of a sentence. This is crucial and quite an issue for some English learners because they just don't think intonation is that important and they focus too much on improving other things like their writing, their reading, their listening without intonation. So make sure you try to mimic English learners, or another way that you can practice intonation is by watching interview videos. Right now, there are a lot of interview videos on YouTube, and you can totally search up on YouTube. After hearing the question from the speaker, pause the video and try to generate your own answers immediately. Imagine you are in a real conference answering questions from a speaker. In this way, not only can you practice spontaneous thinking, but you can also see how well you deliver the message to the other people. So yeah, intonation is important and make sure to notice that while speaking. To sum up, in this video, I've shared 3 reasons why we understand a language but are shy or cannot speak it effectively. First reason is unable to unlock your receptive vocabularies. Second is lack of habit. And thirdly, perfectionism. If you're able to conquer all 3 of these problems, then trust me, your English is going to improve and you're just going to be a more confident person in the future. Bye!